Buenas tardes, LULAC. These are my employees, so it's good. Buenas tardes y bien. First to President Rosales and your incredible staff, your board members, thank you for welcoming me here today and giving me an opportunity to address your group. Thank you to Mayor Santini. It was lovely to meet you and the First Lady of San Juan and to enjoy a little bit of your hospitality yesterday, so thank you. And to Adolfo Carrion from the President's White House, Office of Urban Affairs, a true advocate for concerns that affect so many Latinos in urban areas in our country. You know, I'm here at LULAC not just because it's in Puerto Rico, not because of the good food and the wonderful warm people, but because I have a message for you today. I'm here with Nancy Sutley from the White House Office of Environmental Quality, a proud Latina herself, to extend our hands to LULAC and to all of your communities in partnership. And as part of that partnership, it's time for us to have long overdue conversations about moving forward on the environment. Let me mention only two reasons why that's so important. The first is that there is untapped energy in the Latino community to protect our health and our environment. Last year, the Pew Center on Hispanics asked Latinos across America about the top agenda items for President Obama's administration. 90% said that the environment was a priority. 85% said that energy policy was a priority. Another survey, the Sierra Club, more than 80% of Hispanic voters believe that environmental issues impact their quality of life. They're right. That's why I'm here. More than 75% believe that global warming is a real threat to our country. They are right. That's why I'm here. And 8 in 10 Latinos believe our nation's energy supply and costs have a substantial impact on the environment and believe that there's a potential for millions of jobs for your communities through the clean energy economy. Now, they too are right, my friends, and that's why I'm here. Finally, one more set of numbers. More than 70% of Latinos surveyed said they would be willing to take political action on behalf of the environment. My friends, if that's right, there's no other reason but to be here. Absolutely. We saw a great example of what Latino environmental might can be in what people have done right here and all over the country to nominate El Yunque National Forest to the new 7 Wonders of the Natural World contest. Your efforts have moved El Yunque into the second round of 77 and giving it a great chance to be one of the final 7. Best wishes in that. It's a telling example of what happens when the community engages on an issue to shape a debate. A second reason I'm here, though, is that we have an extraordinary need for Latino voices to be heard. Let me share with you a few more numbers, and they're not as pleasant. Nearly 9 in 10 farm workers nationwide are Hispanic. Much higher exposures to pesticides and chemicals by those workers. Among minority communities, only our minority communities, Latino children have the highest rates of leukemia in the entire nation. Nearly 30 million Latinos, 72% of the entire Latino population, live in places that do not meet federal U.S. air pollution standards. Nearly 29 million live in areas that don't meet standards for ozone. So that in many ways explains the curse of asthma in our communities. That Latinos in America face, particularly here in Puerto Rico, something that you're all too familiar with. Puerto Ricanos have the highest asthma rate of any group in the United States, 125% higher than non-Hispanic whites, and still 80% higher than African Americans. They face an asthma death rate that is 360% higher than non-Hispanic whites. These are tragic consequences. It's what happens when you're on the margin of the environmental conversation. We see it in broader trends. We see it on Vieques Island, where we need the continued involvement of the community of people who live on that island to ensure it is cleaned up. To channel concerns and needs of Latino communities into empowered action. That's our job. But to do that, we need to expand the idea of what is an environmentalist and what is environmentalism. The inauguration of President Barack Obama, the first African-American president, his nomination of me, an African-American woman, to lead the Environmental Protection Agency has changed the very face of what it means to look like an environmentalist. It sends a clear signal that environmentalism does not come in one shape. It doesn't come in any one size. It doesn't come in any one look, and it doesn't come from any one part of our country. We're trying to make sure that at the EPA, and that the EPA champions in the environmental movement as a whole, the full spectrum of voices across America. You know, I think back from when I finished graduate school, there was only one place that young people who wanted to be passionate about the environment came to work. That was the EPA. That's what I would like to return to. I want to make sure we're building the best and brightest environmental protection agency in the country, because our work is not just about protecting the remote wilderness, although that's very important. It's not just about the polar ice caps, although we love them too. As important as they are, environmentalism is about where people live, where they work, where they play, where they learn, where they raise their families. It's about making sure urban and suburban neighborhoods are safe and clean, about protecting our children in schools and protecting workers at their jobs. We have to meet our communities where they are and talk to them about environmental issues in the language that they understand and that they will respond to. And in this case, I'm here because we take that literally. EPA continues to make more and more of its materials available through translation in Spanish. Now our news releases, our fact sheets, our health information, and more are published in Spanish. We even have Twitter feed in Spanish these days. We have a program called Beyond Translation Initiative, which seeks meaningful dialogue with our community leaders, the small business owners, and representatives from faith-based organizations and academia. We want to not only provide this information, but help communities use it for action. To date, we've held forums in Texas, in North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., and we plan to do even more. The bottom line, my friends, is that we must go to every community. We must impress upon them that the issues of environmental protection are their issues, and that the work we are doing is their work, that their struggle is our struggle. So we have a number of programs in place to do that. Let's start with Puerto Rico, where EPA is working with the University of Puerto Rico and the University of Turabo to train nearly 500 asthma instructors. They've now reached 10,000 asthma patients and conducted over 250 visits in the homes. And I'm happy to report that between 2006 and 2007, the Puerto Rico Department of Health reported a significant decrease in lifetime asthma. And parents say 50% of the time now are increase in symptom-free days. I'm a mother with a son with asthma, so I know what it means to have 50% less days in the doctor's office or in the hospital. 160 schools on the island have implemented EPA's tools for schools. They've seen a 50% reduction in absence and a 50% increase in asthma-free symptom days. We've worked with the Puerto Rico Environmental Quality Board, EQB, the Department of Transportation, and local officials to form the Northeast Diesel Collaborative Committee to help on developing clean diesel projects. And not only does that clean the air, but it promotes energy innovations and new jobs for local communities. On the national scale, EPA works closely with our Mexican counterparts at Semanat. For over 17 years, that partnership has meant concrete steps for more than 7 million residents who live along our southern border with Mexico, including 1.5 million people who live without potable water. and sanitation services in colonias along that border. EPA's National Center for Environmental Research has a variety of programs to encourage students to enter the environmental field like I did. Since 2000, the Greater Opportunities Undergraduate Fellowship Program has awarded $3.5 million in fellowships to Latino students to help them move into scientific careers on the environment. We're working through a memorandum of understanding with LULAC, and I do have to recognize Tex Gomez, who I know is sitting over here. Tex spearheaded the work on the MOU, and building on Tex's work and so many and others, EPA and LULAC, Madam President, have extended our agreement, as you said, through December 2012. In closing, let me say this is only a start. It's a moment of exceptional challenges for our communities. We have a long list of urgent environmental issues to confront in the years ahead. And for that, we need new, young advocates in the communities who are striving and fighting for environmental protection and health. We have to bring forward our leaders to fight for our planet. And we need this community to play a role in the debate our nation is having right now. I want to ensure that Latinos are securing the green jobs that are the clean energy future for our country. I want to ensure that they are being heard when they call for cleaner land, clean air, clean water, and protection and safeguarding the health of your children. And as leaders of the Latino community, I'm challenging you today to carry the banner with me. There are powerful voices calling for changes in our immigration policy, in our health care system, and our economy. Please help me raise those voices to call for changes in our nation's environmental and energy future. Help us broaden the idea of environmentalism to welcome and engage Latinos. Please use the influence each of you has to shed light on the devastating health and environmental threats in our communities. Make that mainstream discussion part of taking action on the environment. Help ensure that EPA reflects your communities, that we better reflect the communities we must serve. Make sure that EPA's booth is in the front at your career fair so that we have a chance to see the young people who will be the future of the environment. Make sure you remind them that EPA is a wonderful place and we're eager to have the Latinos' perspective even greater in our work. My friends, it's an important moment. EPA under President Barack Obama is once again guided by an ambitious vision to serve public health and the environment. And Latinos in America, as you heard, are increasingly concerned about these issues and need your help to connect the dots. So I'm here on behalf of President Obama to say that on this and so many other issues, we're asking for your partnership and we count on you to help to lead us. I look forward to working with you. Muchas gracias.
Lisa, we accept your offer to partner with us. We've got a great MOU, and we're so excited about the opportunities to be part of this effort to help change the environment and to make sure that we're protecting our natural resources. As a small token, we have a wonderful painting. This is of Old San Juan, and it is from the Department of Puerto Rican Tourism and from LULAC, and we want you to remember your visit here to this beautiful island of Puerto Rico. Gracias para venir. Thank you.
Ms. Lisa Jackson just gave us some statistics that are alarming. And to me, I personally wanted to thank this young, beautiful woman because we know when she talks with a passion. We hear nothing but great things. And let me tell you, as the national president, I personally want to assure you that LULAC is going to be there to give you that helping hand because the job cannot be done only with Lisa Jackson. All of us need to join this fight to have more green jobs, to clean our environment, to have a better quality of life. For that, we give you a little token of appreciation. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a few housekeeping items. Right after this presentation in 101